So I'm going through a physical toll. I'm going through a financial toll. My hair falling out. And I'm gaining weight. So I'm at the biggest weight that I've ever been in my life, 188 pounds. I am going further and further in debt. And I'm also using credit cards to pay for this food that I'm eating out because I'm not cooking. And it's just a bad time in my life. I would say those are probably the worst 2 years that I've had to live with. And I would pay her back the rest of the money. And my little 17, 16-year-old brain came up with all of this. And I think I was so responsible because I was forced to be. I would like to blame a lot of it on my upbringing, like my mom teaching me, which I think a part of it was. She did teach me about credit and how it worked. She taught me about taxes. Like, there was a lot of things my mom did try to impart into me. But at the same time, my mama was a single mom, and so I had 4 younger siblings and an older brother. I often felt like a second parent, and so I think that parentifying of me also caused me to be very responsible as well. And I hate that that's the way it had to happen for me. I think in a perfect world, I would just be taught responsibility. I learned through having to learn. Like, I knew I needed a car and I knew my mama couldn't buy me a car. And so this is how I was going to get it. I went ahead and got my secure credit card, started building my credit, and I went half on my car with my mama. And so grad school was hard. Grad school was hard. I didn't have a lot of extra time to work. I didn't make time to work. I didn't want to stress myself out any more than I was. I lived in a predominantly white city, a city I had never lived in before. I made that choice because the cost of living was cheap there. Started taking out more money from my loans so that I could live off of the loan and not have to work. And I also started eating out, and I didn't have time to cook. So grad school really took a toll on me. I would say I was definitely in a depression. And as I've been watching weight loss videos, I like to listen to the psychological aspects of things, because it's one thing to just work out and get your results. But if you're not focusing on your mental health and your thought processes, you fall back into those same patterns. We are doing the best we can with what we have. And so when I was eating out, when I was using credit cards, when I was not cooking, when I was eating all that junk food and that cheese and those cakes and those sweets, when I was doing that, I was in a very stressful time in my life, and I was giving my body what I needed. And people eat out of stress. We stress eat. And I didn't know I did it until now. But I'm looking back and I'm like, oh, I started to think to myself, well, why are you craving chocolate? Like, you get curious about it. And when I got curious about it, I realized that I am craving it because it's going to soothe this anxiety that I feel right now. It's going to give me a fix. Is that I'm being mindful in this moment in my life and paying attention to what I'm eating and how I'm spending. And I'm getting curious, and I'm paying attention. So being mindful about how you got into the situation you're in and giving yourself some compassion. Because when I look back at that, oh my goodness, 17-year-old girl who was spending money wisely and trying to do everything correct, she's probably really hard on herself. And then when I look back at the 20-something-year-old young adult who was just kind of drowning in debt and felt like it was her only way out, and putting a lot more hope into that salary